To answer that question, I'd like to give some perspective on the idea of distance, because what is distance? Distance, if you ask 10 people, you will have 10 different answers and so many interpretations regarding the context. And to give this perspective, I'd like to give 3 examples. The first example is, the situation of a friend of mine who has no contact with his mother since 20 years, I think. His parents got divorced when he was a child, when he was young. And when he saw, even as a child, of course, children pick up so many things. But when he saw how his mother reacted in a very, how can I say this? In a very negative way, in a very manipulative way to this divorce, not just towards his father, but also towards him being an only child, he thought, this is not what I need because I don't feel safe. And at that moment, he didn't take the decision to not ever talk to his mother again. Of course not. He was a child. I mean, this is not a regular type of decision making from a child. But once he was 18, he told me, this is one of the first things that I decided as a person that is 18. I don't want to be in close contact or in low contact with my mother. My mother is my mother biologically, but my father remarried, and I see the woman that he married with, I see her not as my mother, but as a mother figure. So to him, it was about safety, it was about peace, and the only way that he could feel those 2 items or these 2 things was to really cut everything with his mother, which doesn't mean that he doesn't have the best relationship with his father or with his mother-in-law or with other family members. But that is his story. The second story that I wanted to share is my own. And without going into all of the details, I can tell you that I cut all contact with my family a few years ago. Now, when I took the decision to say goodbye, that decision was a consequence of so many things that happened before. It was a decision that I took with my heart and with my mind and with my soul. The 3 of them, everything was aligned. I had done everything that I could do. I had not just lost hope, I had come to the realization I cannot be in this relationship with people who don't want to fix something that is broken. You cannot. Whatever the type of relationship you're in, you cannot be the only one who is willing to put in all the effort and who is willing to make it work. It's impossible. So when I took this decision a few years ago of going no contact with the entirety of my family, not just my parents, with everyone, as I told you, it was a choice, it was a decision, but it was fueled by my heart and my soul that told me, this is true for you. This is 100% what you feel. There is nothing else. There is no shred of doubt. There is nothing standing in your way. This is it. And the only thing that you need right now is courage. The courage to voice, to verbalize this decision. And I was very happy at that moment that I was not alone, that there was a psychiatrist also in the room who had witnessed everything that had happened. And yeah, I really encourage everybody to not go through this moment alone. Doesn't necessarily have to be a psychiatrist, could be a friend, could be a neighbor, doesn't matter, but to not be alone there, because it's a very important decision. And it is usually something you can change your mind, of course, but often changing your mind comes after a couple of years. So it is a decision that will shape your future for the coming years, for the upcoming years. And one last thing I wanted to say specifically about my situation is that, in fact, when you take this hard decision and you say, okay, I'm leaving this family, you tend to see it as an end point. You tend to see it as, well, that's finished. But in fact, it is a door opening to your future. Because if your family is this dysfunctional, and that after years of fighting, of communicating, of trying to fix everything, you have come to this point where you realize there is nothing else for me to do than to say goodbye, that is very powerful. And this goodbye means that there is an other life opening for you. The third and last and best example I wanted to give is the one of a very close friend who was facing the same situation as I was. He was trying to communicate with his family, specifically with his parents, about the fact that he didn't feel hurt, about the fact that he couldn't say what he really thought without it being ignored or neglected or just dismissed completely. And at the same time as I was fighting with my parents and saying, like, listen to me, and they shouted back, he did the same with his family, but the outcome was completely different. His family, when he really said, listen, now I stop. I am at the end of my emotions, of everything that I have to offer. I need to say goodbye. At that moment, his parents woke up and they told him, listen, wait, sit down. We don't want to lose you. Please say again, repeat. What do you need? What did we do wrong? And every time I think about this, it gives me so much hope for dysfunctional families, because I think it's not because it didn't work out for me. It's not because I have a friend who is going no contact with his mother that you cannot, like my very good friends, come to this end point and then have your family reopen the door for you and fight for you and say, no, you are not leaving this house, but with empathy, with compassion, and with love, and say, stay and tell us, how can we fix this? And that is the most beautiful feeling in the world. And until today, even after having been through a major accident that almost cost him his life, his family is standing by his side every day. And they have accepted him for who he is. And if that is not the most beautiful thing, I don't know what is.